welcome back to the Compliance Kitchen podcast. This is Sylvia, and I am looking at OFAC's recent settlement with a U.S. company. This is in regards to sanctions violations. So this is from July 23rd, when OFAC issued a press release in regards to this settlement with the U.S. company, publicly traded U.S. company. They offer online money transmitting and prepaid access. They agreed to remit over $1.4 million to settle its potential civil liability for 2,260 apparent violations of multiple sanctions program. According to the OFAC release, the company, Payoneer Inc., or Payoneer, processed payments for parties that were located in various parts of the world, including sanctioned parts of the world, the Crimea region of Ukraine, Iran, Sudan, Syria, and also on behalf of sanctioned persons who were on the OFAC's SDN list. As OFAC tells us in more detail, Payoneer's policies and procedures dating back as far as June 2015 specified that transactions involving parties in sanctioned locations were prohibited, but the testing and auditing conducted to verify that these procedures and policies were being implemented failed to identify the compliance deficiencies that led to the apparent violations. The apparent violations, which related to commercial transactions processed by Payoneer on behalf of its corporate customers and card issuing financial institutions, resulted from multiple sanctions compliance control breakdowns, including weak algorithms that allowed close matches to SDN list entries not to be flagged by its filter, failure to screen for business identifier codes, or the BIC codes, even when SDN list entries contained these codes, during backlog periods, allowing flagged and pending payments to be automatically released without review, and lack of focus on sanctioned locations, especially Crimea, because it was not monitoring IP addresses or flagging addresses in sanctioned locations. So this is coming directly from the OFAC's press release, which I have a link to on compliancekitchen.com if you guys want to read the details for yourself. OFAC determined the certain things were aggravating factors and certain things were mitigating factors. So as far as the aggravating factors, Payoneer failed to exercise a minimal degree of caution or care for its sanctions compliance obligations when it allowed persons on the SDN list and persons in sanctioned locations to open accounts and transact as a result of deficient sanctions compliance processes that persisted for a number of years. The other aggravating factor was that Payoneer had reason to know the location of the users. It subsequently identified as located in sanctioned regions and jurisdictions based on common indicators of location within its possession, including billing, shipping, IP addresses, or copies of identification issued in jurisdictions and regions subject to sanctions. And the last one was the apparent violations caused harm to 6 different sanctions programs. Now, OFAC also found some mitigating factors, and those were that upon discovering potential sanctions compliance issues, senior management acted quickly to self-disclose and provided substantial cooperation throughout the investigation. Payoneer has not received a penalty notice or finding of violation from OFAC in the preceding 5 years. Payoneer has represented that it has terminated the conduct that led to the apparent violations and undertook various remedial measures to minimize the risk of recurrence or of similar conduct in the future. As part of its agreement with OFAC, Payoneer has also undertaken to continue its implementation of these and other compliance commitments. So, in closing, the action underscores that money and financial service providers are responsible for ensuring that they don't engage in unauthorized transactions that are prohibited by sanctions programs. And to mitigate these risks, they should develop and structure their risk-based sanctions compliance programs to achieve this goal. And to that end, OFAC's framework for OFAC compliance commitments notes that each compliance program, of course, varies depending on a variety of factors, because each set of circumstances and every company is different. And so you're looking at the company's size, sophistication, the products and services they offer, their customers, counterparties, geographic locations. So this all plays into how you structure your compliance program, but it should be predicated on and incorporate at least 5 essential components of compliance, which is management commitment. You have to have the commitment from the top, risk assessment, so that you know what you're looking at, what kind of risks you're dealing with, and you can risk rank so that you know which one to deal with first. Your internal controls obviously need to be able to detect and mitigate these risks, and then testing and auditing to make sure that everything is working as it should, and of course training, because without training your employees won't know how to react or how to recognize risks. So within that framework, this enforcement action of course emphasizes the importance of effective screening and auditing, not only for persons on the SDN list, but also you want to watch out for sanctioned locations, right? Because not everybody is going to be on the SDN list, but that doesn't mean that they're okay to deal with. You want to ensure that filters are flagging payments within expected parameters. You're screening for BIC codes, especially when OFAC includes them in SDN list entries. And you hold flagged payments until they have been properly resolved and reviewed. Okay, well, this is a summary. If you want to take a look at the framework for OFAC compliance commitments, I have a link for you guys on compliancekitchen.com. There's a post on this enforcement action, and of course a link to the OFAC's press release, so that you have the official information in your hands if you need it.